What if I told you that inside an old drawer, a jar of forgotten change, or even a dusty coin collection passed down through generations, could be hiding a treasure so powerful that it could completely change your life forever? Imagine holding a small, heavy piece of history in your hand, no bigger than the tip of your thumb, yet it carries a value so massive it could make you feel like you've uncovered hidden gold from a lost civilization. These are not just coins. These are time machines, carrying stories of America's past, secrets of minting mistakes, and beauty that collectors fight for in today's auctions. And today, I am about to reveal to you the top 3 ultra-rare and most valuable buffalo nickels that exist in the world of coin collecting right now. Each one of them has a shocking backstory. Each one is highly desired, and each one has reached a value that turns ordinary people into treasure hunters overnight. But stay with me until the very end, because what you're about to hear is not just fascinating history, not just collecting tips, not just rare discoveries. What you're about to hear is truth. Truth about treasures that are sitting quietly in pockets, attics, and coin collections, waiting to be recognized. And once they are recognized, their value skyrockets into a world most people cannot even imagine. This is Hidden US Coins, your most faithful and trusted source for daily updates on the rarest treasures in American coinage. Let's begin our journey into the unbelievable world of buffalo nickels. First coin number 1. Now, let's start with a coin that doesn't just shine with silver gray beauty, but one that carries a story of struggle, artistry, and rarity. The 1934 buffalo nickel with the D mint mark. This coin was struck in Denver, at a time when America was still recovering from the shadows of the Great Depression. Factories were quiet, jobs were scarce, and every nickel in a person's pocket mattered. And yet, out of that hardship came this masterpiece designed by James Earl Fraser, the legendary artist who wanted to capture the true American spirit in a single coin. The buffalo nickel itself is iconic. On the obverse, you see the noble profile of a Native American chief, a composite created from several real-life leaders, etched with strength and dignity. On the reverse, you see the mighty American bison, standing proud, a symbol of untamed wilderness and power. But the 1934 with D buffalo nickel stands apart. Struck in fine detail with that small but powerful D mint mark, just below the 5 cents, it has become one of the most sought-after treasures in numismatics. Why? Because while millions of nickels were made, very few from this year and mint survived in the kind of condition collectors demand today. The silver shade, the smooth luster, the crispness of the design. These are what separate an ordinary coin from a treasure of immeasurable worth. Many nickels from this era suffered heavy circulation, wearing down the details of the Native American's hair or the bison's horns and tail. But when you find a 1934 with D buffalo nickel in fine condition, with its unique look preserved, you're holding something that collectors will battle fiercely for in today's auction markets. The rarity is not only in its mintage, but also in the condition. Collectors know that surviving pieces in such beauty are almost like miracles. Each small scratch, each detail preserved adds to its power. And because of this, the demand has reached breathtaking levels. It's not just another coin, it's like a piece of America's beating heart, captured in metal and forever preserved. And here comes the part that will truly shock you. The current market value of this coin, in the condition I described, silver shade, fine preservation, with that Denver mint mark, has climbed to an astounding $233,000. Yes, you heard me right. $233,000 for a single buffalo nickel. That's not a myth. That's not a dream. That is the absolute present truth of today's auction markets. This is not just money. It's a fortune, a treasure chest condensed into the size of a 5-cent piece. When you hold it, it is like holding a vault of history that the world has agreed to reward with wealth beyond imagination. And here's the most thrilling part. This value is not stagnant. It is climbing day after day, year after year. What was once considered just an old nickel has now become an investment, a treasure that multiplies in value as the world grows hungrier for rare coins. Don't mistake this for fiction. I am telling you truth. If you're lucky enough to own one of these coins, you are not just holding money, you are holding a treasure chest, a fortune waiting to expand, and a piece of American history that will never lose its shine. For collectors, here's a tip. When searching for buffalo nickels, pay close attention to the mint marks. The Denver D in 1934 makes all the difference. Look for sharpness in detail, especially in the Native American's hair braid and the bison's horn. A worn example may still carry some value, but a preserved one, well, as you've just heard, it's nothing less than life-changing. And so, when we look at the 1934 with the D Buffalo nickel, we are not just looking at a coin. We are staring into history. We are witnessing art. We are touching the rare and powerful truth of America's treasures. It is more than metal, it is a symbol of resilience, beauty, and unimaginable value. A small coin, yes, but a treasure, without a doubt. Next coin, number 2. Now, if the 1934 with D Buffalo nickel already sent chills down your spine, prepare yourself because what I'm about to share next is another masterpiece, another living miracle of American coinage. This is the 1936 Buffalo nickel with the Denver mint mark, a coin that seems to shine not only with metal but with fire, history, and mystery itself. The year was 1936. America was beginning to breathe again after years of hardship during the Great Depression. Hope was returning, jobs were being restored, and coins once again jingled in pockets with a sense of optimism. And in the Denver Mint, struck with precision and artistry, came this extraordinary nickel, a Buffalo nickel, so distinct in beauty that even at first glance it separates itself from the ordinary. Look closely at this coin and you will see its story unfold before your very eyes. On the front, the strong and determined profile of the Native American, immortalized in design, gazes forward with quiet power. Each line of the braid, each detail of the feather, captures the spirit of America's native people. And when you turn it over, the reverse reveals the mighty American bison, bold, proud, untamed. But this 1936 with D Buffalo nickel is not just a coin. With its silver and golden shade, shimmering like a treasure forged in fire, it appears almost like a relic pulled from a chest of gold hidden deep underground. And that beauty is not accidental. Many nickels from this year suffered wear from circulation, losing the finer details that give them value. But when one is discovered in fine condition, like the piece we are speaking of today, it becomes something altogether different. Something rare, something powerful, something that collectors would never let slip away. What makes this coin especially fascinating is its rarity and surviving condition. While the Denver Mint produced thousands, the passing of time, circulation, and history have erased most examples. Today, the 1936 with D with its glowing tones and preserved artistry stands as a prize far above the rest. Collectors know immediately when they see one. This is not just another coin, it is a crown jewel of the Buffalo nickel series. But here's where the suspense grows. Because while most nickels are worth just a few cents, the 1936 with D Buffalo nickel in this fine preserved condition has reached a price in today's market that can only be described as breathtaking. Auctions have confirmed it again and again. The current value of this coin is an astounding $228,000. Yes, nearly $250,000 for a single nickel. And remember, this is not a fantasy. This is the truth, the very reality of today's numismatic world. Think about what that means. To hold such a coin is to hold a treasure that could transform your life overnight. It is wealth condensed into metal. It is a big money miracle, a rare fortune that proves how the smallest things can hold the greatest value. And what makes it even more thrilling, this value is not fixed. It is climbing higher and higher every single year. The world's hunger for rare Buffalo nickels is growing. The market is alive, the demand is fierce, and prices like these are becoming more and more possible every single day. This is not just a collectible, it is an ever-growing treasure chest in your pocket. For collectors, the advice here is clear and powerful. Always examine Buffalo nickels for their mint marks. That small D below the 5 cents transforms a common nickel into a rare, high-value treasure. Look carefully at the coin's surfaces. Are the Native Americans' hair and feathers sharp? Is the bison's horn and tail intact? These details will determine whether you are looking at a fortune or just an ordinary coin. And when you come across one with the shimmering silver and golden tone that the 1936 with D can sometimes display, know this, you may be holding a miracle. So, when we speak of 1936 with the D Buffalo nickel, we are not speaking of loose change. We are speaking of wealth. We are speaking of a masterpiece of American art. We are speaking of a treasure that continues to grow in power, year after year. This is not just history, it is legacy. Not just a coin, it is a treasure chest sealed in nickel. And to those of you watching, remember, Here on Hidden U.S. Coins, we bring you faithful, truthful, and daily updates about these miracles of numismatics. This is your trusted source for treasures that are real, that are powerful, and that are waiting to be found. The story of 1936 with D. Buffalo nickel is proof that treasure still exists all around us. You just have to know where to look. Next coin, number 3. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we arrive at the final treasure in today's journey. If you thought the year 1934 with D and the year 1936 with D were astonishing, prepare yourself because what comes next is a coin that carries nearly a century of American history in its surface. This is the 1925 Buffalo nickel with no mint mark, a coin that radiates beauty, strength, and above all, rarity that makes it one of the most valuable pieces ever discovered in the Buffalo nickel series. Picture the year 1925. The Roaring Twenties were in full swing. America was booming with jazz music, automobiles, and new inventions that were changing everyday life. But in the midst of all that excitement, a small nickel was struck in Philadelphia, the mint that often left its coins without any mint mark at all. This was no ordinary nickel. This was the Buffalo nickel designed by James Earl Fraser, capturing the dual spirit of America's history, the proud Native American on the obverse and the mighty bison on the reverse. Now, what makes the 1925 no mint mark Buffalo nickel so extraordinary is not just its design, but its survival. Most nickels from this period were heavily circulated, passing from hand to hand through shops, markets, and pocket change. The constant wear wore down their beauty, erased their details, and left them common. But every once in a while, one of these coins survived in a state that defies time itself. Sharp detail, silver sheen, and in some cases like the coin before us today, extra fine beauty that glows as if it has been preserved in a time capsule. And when such a piece emerges, collectors immediately know this is no ordinary find. This is the crown jewel, the rare pearl among stones. The absence of a mint mark places it directly from Philadelphia, making it instantly recognizable, and its survival in such fine condition makes it breathtaking. The bison's tail and horn are visible. The Native American's hair braid and feathers are crisp details that almost never survived circulation. And it's these very details that transform the 1925 Buffalo nickel into an item of pure treasure. But here's where the story takes a turn into the unbelievable. The current market value of this 1925 Buffalo nickel in the condition we are speaking of today is a staggering $248,000. Yes, nearly $250,000 for one nickel that most people would pass over without a second thought. This is not imagination. This is truth. This is the very real power of the numismatic market today. Think about what this means. A coin once worth 5 cents now commands nearly $250,000. That is not just money, it is a fortune. It is a big treasure locked into a tiny piece of metal, a treasure that can make a person rich overnight. And this value? It does not sit still. It climbs. Every auction, every bidding war, every new discovery only pushes the price higher. The demand for Buffalo nickels is insatiable. Collectors want them, investors chase them, and history itself guarantees their eternal importance. This is no short-term hype. This is a long-term treasure, a fortune that grows with time. For those of you watching, here is the most faithful advice I can give. Study the details of the Buffalo nickel carefully, especially for the 1925 no mint mark. Pay attention to the surfaces, to the strength of the strike, to the crispness of detail. Because hidden in your collection or in your family's old coin jars might be one of these miracles. And if you find one in extra fine condition like this, you are not just lucky, you are blessed with a piece of history that the world considers priceless. And so, when we conclude with the 1925 Buffalo nickel with no mint mark, we are concluding with a treasure that is not just valuable, it is legendary. It is proof that America's smallest objects can hold the greatest fortunes. It is proof that history can transform into wealth. And it is proof that treasures are still out there, waiting to be discovered by those who know what to look for. And there you have it, 3 of the most extraordinary Buffalo nickels ever known. The 1934 with D, the 1936 with D, and the 1925 no mint mark. Each one a masterpiece. Each one a treasure chest. Each one a fortune sealed into 5 cents of history. Their values $233,000, $228,000, and $248,000 are not fiction. not imagination, but the very real truth of today's numismatic markets. These are coins that collectors dream of, coins that auction houses fight over, coins that prove treasure is still alive in America. Remember this, treasure hunting is not just in the oceans, not just in the mountains, it is in our pockets, our drawers, and our collections. And here on Hidden US Coins, I bring you daily updates, faithful truths, and hidden discoveries from the world of rare American coins. This channel is your most trusted source for treasures that are real, that are growing in value, and that are waiting to be found. So, if you have ever dreamed of finding fortune, if you have ever believed in treasures, and if you want to stay updated on the rarest coins in America, make sure to stay connected here. Because tomorrow's treasure could be yours. This has been Hidden US Coins, where history turns into treasure, and every coin has a story worth more than gold.